So if you need to meet with the principal, then there are some things that you need to know, and you want to get the best possible outcome. And if things are at the stage where you're chatting with the principal, then you want to be prepared and you want to do things in a way that's most likely going to be constructive. So the first thing you need to know is that if working with your child's teacher hasn't worked, it hasn't got you the results you need, then you calmly and kindly and politely, you book an appointment with the principal or the deputy principal. Ideally the principal, but be okay about chatting with the deputy principal. Do not talk to the year level coordinator or the head of middle school or something. That's not where you want to be, because those guys and ladies don't have the authority to make big decisions, and they're probably going to do a lot more sort of pacifying you rather than just actually coming up with solutions. So aim for the principal or the deputy principal. Now, when you phone up the office to make that appointment, the office ladies are going to do their best to push you down the ladder a bit, to try and make it so you're dealing with someone in middle management. Just explain to them that it's not what you want, it's not what you need. And some key phrases that work well for that are things like saying, "Thank you, but no, I actually need to speak to Mr. Jones." Or if they're not hearing you there, something like, "I appreciate that, but there are some very personal details at stake, so I really can only chat with Mr. Jones about it." People aren't going to argue with something like that. Whatever you choose to say, make sure you can say it with integrity and a clean conscience, but keep in mind that you do need to talk to the principal, so don't get stuck in middle management. Now, when you're chatting with the principal, basically use the same formula that you saw in the video about how to chat with your child's teacher. Especially one thing from that is absolutely true with chatting with the principal is that you can't fear crying. Okay, often parents fear that they'll cry and they fear that they'll be embarrassed, but crying breaks down walls. And if you do end up crying in front of the principal, then they're going to be even more aware of how heartfelt this is and how important this is to you and how serious you are. And it's a healthy thing. So no one wants to cry, but if you do cry, that's okay. It's part of being real and being transparent. Now, when it comes to chatting with the child's principal or the deputy principal, you need to be aware that they just want a solution for the issue so that you will go away. And they will usually be happy for the school to do a little bit extra for you that they wouldn't do for everyone, just to make it so that they don't have to keep dealing with you. Now, obviously they do care about your child, but as well as that, they just care about things being smooth, and having to have regular conversations with you or having an upset parent is not smooth. So the school leadership just wants things solved, and they've got the capacity to get things solved. They can make the big decisions and they can be a little bit more creative with how things work out. Now, the school, especially the principal or the deputy principal, they actually fear you. I know that you think you fear them, but they simultaneously fear you. What they fear is that you're going to basically be something that is just a time-consuming thing that's just messy to deal with. So what principals really fear is you chatting with their superiors, you writing letters to their bosses or department level, or, I don't know, a letter to the minister. They just don't want that to happen, because when it does happen, yeah, they'll deal with it, they'll sort it out, no one will be in trouble, but they'll just be sort of in this spot where it's time-consuming, and they don't want that. So if they can give you a solution that doesn't cost them too much but keeps you happy, then that's really what they're looking for, and that's why you're chatting with the principal, because he can make those sort of solutions happen. So I don't think I need to repeat all the stuff that is in the other video. You watched the video about how to chat with your child's teacher, but just remember, your child's principal is a person. He or she has emotions just like you do. They have limitations on what they can say yes to, but at the same time, they have a lot of latitude to make decisions that will help your child, and actually just sort of asking them, look, I get that your system says you can do this, 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 and this, but what else is there? What is there that my child needs? And particularly by reminding the principal that this is actually a disability, and that, there's things that schools can put in place. Don't let the principal push you down the road of going and getting some external assessment of, how serious this disability is. Don't get stuck in that, because then you end up in waiting lists and stuff. I mean, it can be helpful if you're trying to get more funding for a child. That can be helpful. But for most of the people watching this video, that's not really what you need. You just need the school to make a few little adjustments that will make your child's life easier. Well, good luck. Remember, if at first they say no, it doesn't mean no forever. It means no today. So feel free to follow that up and sort of go, oh, look, I know initially we decided that couldn't happen, but what about if? And just try a few different angles. Remember, it's by being persistent that you will get what you need. As a teacher, I can tell you that if a parent who I work for has gone and chatted with the principal, there's a little bit of awkwardness there. So you can get rid of that awkwardness by sending one email to both the principal and your child's teacher that says something along the lines of, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Thank you for this outcome and this outcome. I really appreciate the time that you guys have put into helping my child, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this year works out for them. Because that sort of email, it just clears the air. It lets people know that you're not upset. And even if you are upset, it lets people know that you are a solutions person and that you're not going to play the blame game. Basically, the school wants things to work well for your child. You want things to work well. It's just a matter of finding what things the school can accommodate. And usually, if you're persistent, if you're kind, if you go down the right channels, you will get the help for your child that they really need.